Jacob is traveling after his parents tell him to leave and find a new place to go looking for a better shidduch, a better girl to marry. And he's sent to Lavan's house, to Rivka's own hometown. And over there, on his way, he stops. He takes a nap. He has a dream. The dream of the ladder with the angels going up and down. He wakes up from that dream and he's startled. The Torah says, we're in chapter 28, verse 17. Vayira vayomar, oh my. And behold, Yaacov Avinu is scared. And he says, Ma norah hamakom hazeh, how awesome is this place. En ze ki im bet Elohim. This place is nothing but the place of God, the house of God. V'zeh shar hashamayim, and this is the gates of heaven, the gates of the sky. The Zera Shimshon asks multiple questions on the verbiage of this verse. He starts and he says, what is so awesome? Why is Yaakov using the terminology of norah? Norah is a pretty severe word. Why is he using that word? And furthermore, the verse could have read, Norah hamakom hazeh. Why ma norah hamakom hazeh? That's like something really awesome. This is a really awesome place. Next he asks, when someone tells you something, they're not going to tell you, this is nothing but a pen. They'll just tell you, this is a pen. Maybe in legal terms or as a lawyer, sometimes you'll say, this is nothing but a pen. This is nothing but a statement. No, this is a statement. This is a pen. Why is Yaakov Avinu expressing himself and saying, this is nothing but the home of God? It's like in a negative, then back to a positive. Why would he need to exercise his vernacular in such a way? Next. What is he saying by, and this is the gates of heaven. This is the gates of the sky. So listen to how the Zera Shimshon answers. He literally just took this whole basuk and he asked on every single word, and when it says, what's going on? The Zera Shimshon quotes the Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo, in his work on extrapolating the halachot that the Tur wrote. The Tur was the son of the Rosh, Rabbeinu Yaakov ben Harosh, and he wrote an amazing piece of work. He was the first one to codify the laws of the Talmud in an order which can seemingly make the most sense. The way we have it in our Shulchan Aruch, divided into 4 different volumes. Prior to that, all other Rishonim, we can't say all, most other Rishonim wrote their halachic dissertation based on the order of the Talmud, which was done intentionally to not be in a proper and logical order. We're not going to speak about that now, but it was done on purpose to not be in an easy logical order, so it shouldn't be open and available to anybody. The Rambam was the first of the Rishonim, of the medieval scholars, to write halacha based on his own, his own order, which makes a lot of sense as well. But the Tur, which was the following generation, was the first to take the opinions of all other of the Rishonim, all the other medieval scholars, and categorize them and codify them. The Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo, he comes and he sources out every single halacha that's in the Tur. Now, why am I telling you this? Because the Zera Shimshon quotes the Bet Yosef, who brings in the laws of Tisha B'Av the following minhag. He says as follows, that there are those who have the tradition to take a rock or small stone and place it under their pillow before they go to sleep on the night of Tisha B'Av. and he brings. You know where the hint to this tradition comes from? From our very Parashat. When Yaacov Avinu comes to the place of where the temple will one day stand and will eventually be destroyed, what did he do? Knowingly or unknowingly, it was first unknowingly, he put rocks around himself. And then all those rocks were fighting back and forth. I want to be under the tzaddik's head. No, I want to be under the tzaddik's head. And then they all came together and they became one rock and they were resting under Jacob's head. And therefore, since he was at that very place, the tradition comes about of putting a rock under the pillow on the night of Tisha B'Av before one goes to sleep. Now, just as a side point before we continue, I'm always asked, Rabbi, what's the tradition when we go to the cemetery? Do we put a rock? Do we bring flowers? Do we do both? Do we do none? What's halakha have to say about that? And the saying is as follows. Flowers being brought to a cemetery is a Gentile tradition. That's not our ways. And based on the reason why we do bring a rock or we place a rock on, you'll understand. The reason why we place a rock on the tombstone is in order to show, number one, that a rock is an inanimate object. There's nothing special about it. It doesn't have any life. It is called a domem. Out of the four categories of a domem, an inanimate object, then a tzomeach, then a vegetation that has some life to it, and then an animal being the third, and then a human being being the fourth, it is the lowest of all of those. And we bring a rock to the cemetery, or you find one at the cemetery and you put on the tombstone in order to show that the body that is buried here is nothing too special anymore. Because when a body is then separated from the soul, it's nothing but an inanimate object. We respect it, we're coming and we're showing out of respect, but this is not the importance. The importance is the deceased soul, which still lives and lives on forever. Furthermore, a rock generally is something round to show us and to allude to us, to remind us that life is a cycle. People come and people go. Generations come and generations go. And we should not be overly saddened by the fact that we are coming and visiting that person. So we are coming with respect, yet we are also coming and showing a priority of importance over life and over the soul, which really lives on and continues to live on. Coming back to this, the Zera Shimshon says that Yaacov Avinu was not only shown a ladder with angels coming up and down, and not, as we previously said, alluding to Mount Sinai and the giving of the Torah, and alluding to sacrifices and the altar at the temple, but he was also shown that at the place he is at is the place where the temple will be built and the temple will be destroyed. And to that effect, the Zera Shimshon says, Manora hamakom hazeh. Oh my gosh, this place is not awesome. This is a very awesome place, since so many things are going to happen here. And then he continues with the verse. Why did it have to go in a negative and then positive way? En ze ki im bet Elokim. Because even though the temple will be eventually built here, En zeh, that is not the everlasting temple. He saw that it will be destroyed. But ki im bet Elokim, you know what the everlasting temple is going to be? It's the one that it says in the tractate, the volume of Gemara Masechet Sukkah. The temple that God himself is going to build and bring down when Mashiach comes. That's going to be the everlasting one. Ki im bet Elokim. That's the everlasting one, the one that God builds, the temple that God builds and brings down. But nevertheless, Vayetze sha'ar hashamayim. Nevertheless, whether there is a temple or we're waiting for a temple or the temple is built, every single Jew forevermore will always pray in the direction of the Holy of Holies. This place where Jacob was is the Shar HaShamayim, is the gate to heaven. So the Zera Shimshon had very strong questions on the terminologies and the order of this verse. And then he proves through the verse exactly what was so awesome, what Yaacov Avinu really saw. Because the Torah doesn't tell us anything about him seeing, at least on a simple level, anything about him seeing the temple being built and being destroyed. But the Zera Shimshon plugs into the pasuk exactly what Yaakov Avinu saw. He continues and tells us that the Nevi'im, Gemara Masechet Yoma tells us that the prophet Yirmiyahu and the prophet Daniel both said that they did not want to praise God with all the praises we pray God. How? Look in our Amidah. We say Hakel, the God who is Hagadol, big, Hagibor, who is strong and mighty, V'hanora, and is awesome. They said we don't want to say the last two of Gibor and Nora, of mighty, strong, and awesome. Just Hakel Hagadol, the king, the God which is big. And then the assembly of great men come and ask them, O prophets, why would you not include Gibor Ve'Nora, strong and awesome? They came back and said, how can a strong and awesome and mighty God allow his own temple to be destroyed by the enemies of the Jews? How can a strong and awesome and mighty God allow his own children to be manipulated and tortured by the nations of the world? And to that effect, the great assembly of men, the Anshe Knesset Hagedolah, answered them and said, that is exactly the reason why God is Gibor Ve'Nora, strong and awesome. Because even though the Goyim have suppressed us and attacked us and put us through inquisitions and pogroms and holocausts in each of their ways and made blood libels upon us, withheld us from conducting proper business, segregated us, did all horrible things to us. Nevertheless, the Jewish nation is still around. Am Yisrael Chai V'Kayam. We are alive and we are everlasting. Look at the Romans. They came and they fell. And the Greeks and the Persians and the Germans and the Spanish. Each and every nation. The Egyptians. They were at each time in the world history, each of the nations I just mentioned, each of them that I just mentioned, were the power of the world. Economically, popularity, in every way possible. Yet do we know any original Egyptians? Any original Romans, original Greeks, original Persians? No one. Yimach Shemam. Are there any Nazis left? If there are, few and far between, and they're gone. Every other nation comes up and goes down. Anshe Knesset Hagedolah came to their prophets, Yirmiyahu and Daniel, and said, the very fact that our temple was destroyed and we are being prosecuted shows how strong, mighty, awesome, and great God is. And the Zera Shimshon, before finishing off, adds one more point. He says, if you look in our Amidah, God is referred to as those three traits of Gadol, Gibor, Ve'Nora. And each of those three allude to another one of our patriarchs. Gadol referring to Abraham. Gibor referring to Isaac. And Nora, awesome, referring to Yaakov. He says, what a chance, or maybe not, that it was Yaakov himself who calls the place which connects this world and the next, Shamayim and Aretz. And he called it and he characterized it as Nora, as awesome. to remind us to know that it is Yaakov's trait of being awesome. It is Yaakov's trait of acknowledging God's greatness and awesomeness. And at that moment, he was not only given a prophecy of the temple being built and destroyed, but he was also given the prophecy that that is the greatest proof to God's strength and awesomeness. Here in this place, we're still going through. Today we live in America, and America's on the rise. And do you know that the Jews who lived in Spain and the Jews who lived in Germany, when it was good for them, never in a million years would they have thought that they would have been kicked out, prosecuted, or treated differently. I want to give a blessing to us all, a blessing to America, the great country we live in, because we are blessed to have a great leader at this point. He's doing great with relations of the state of Israel and America, and great with relations for the Jews. Now, I don't want to get so political, but my point is as follows, that as great as it is today, it not only could it be worse, as great as it is today, it will not always be like this. And we will be ignorant to think that we are secure where we live. The only security we will ever have is when Mashiach comes. And being that we are in Galut, the only things that will protect us, the only things that will give us that security is connecting back to God through Torah and through Tefillah. If I can give a recommendation, and at the bottom of this video that you just watched, I will have the link to a video that I saw. It's a 20-minute documentary. It's called The Mystery of the Jews. If you've seen it, it's worth seeing again. If you've not seen it, please do me a favor. Find yourself 20 minutes to watch this video. It is the most electrifying video of making yourself proud to be a Jew. If you're already a proud Jew, you'll be even prouder. And if you're not, this video will make you proud. It will take you from Abraham all the way to today and show you the way Jews have been treated and what Gentiles have to say about Jews. And the smarter ones, the gifted ones, who are able to recognize that we are the diamond in the rough sometimes, yet we are God's chosen people.